Okay, good evening and welcome to a special multi-Shabbos edition of Iyun Benzion, Nedarim Daf Memvov, number 46. Um, this Gemara is a continuation of the Mishnah on the start of Mem Hey Amud Beis, the new parak, the fifth parak, where we talk about a machlokas between Elazar and Yaakov and the Rabbanon, which centers around the Chatzar. You have a joint yard of a duplex, you share a front yard. So each of you is upset at each other. So each one says, I'm not going to get benefit from you, I'm not going to benefit from you. Now, the houses, right, they're divided. Duplex are divided. One property, not the other property. However, the yard you share. So can I go into the guy's yard, right? We each jointly own the yard. It's a shutfus. It's a partnership we have in the yard. No one really owns it particularly. Can I go into the yard to get to my house? According to Elazar Yaakov, no problem. You can go in. According to the Rabbanan, you can't go in. Now, it doesn't say what the Rabbanan say you're going to do. You're in trouble if both of them talk on. No, you can't go in, according to the Rabbanan. That's pretty severe. You have to probably matter neder. But it doesn't make it there. So we pass Elazar Yaakov. The Gemara says the end of Beis, the bottom of Beis, before the two dots, the Gemara passes Elazar Yaakov. However, there's one caveat, and that is, the Gemara adds in, Amar of Yosef, Amar Zeiri, Machlokas she'ein ba kedei chalukah. On Mem Vav and Beis, he says, the Machlokas Elazar Yaakov is only where there's no kedei chalukah, meaning it's a very small yard, and therefore, halachically, I can't force the other person to divide it with me. Al yesh ba kedei chalukah, direi kol aser. If there is kedei chalukah, meaning technically it means that there's 8 amos to be divided for personal space, meaning 4 amos of personal space for each person, plus another 4 amos square of personal space in front of each door. So then, under those circumstances, the Gemara says in Bava Basra, if 2 shutfim have that amount of space in their yard, they can force, one of them could force the other person to split it. I want to split it. Even though we were partners, I can split it. If it's a small area, you can't force them to split it because if you split a very small area into 2 units, it's nothing. It's not valuable at all. So you can't, if it has to be a certain amount of space, if it's a minimal amount of space, you could split it. So what comes out from the Gemara, basically, the way I understand the Gemara, I think this is the Pashut in the Gemara, is that we hold the Elazar ben Yaakov. And the Gemara proceeds to say, except it has to be in a case where there is no Kedei Chalukah. Mishnah is only talking about a very small yard. If it's a bigger yard, right? So technically, the reason Elazar ben Yaakov is because of Breira. He holds, once I go into my house and I use the yard, I can say I went into my portion of the yard. Breira, retroactively, we say it was my portion of the yard that I went into. So what does it matter whether it's Kedei Chalukah or not Kedei Chalukah? You rely on Breira. The answer is that when it's Kedei Chalukah and you are both usher to get enough from each other, we force you to do a Chalukah. That's pretty much the Gemara is saying. We force you to split it, because even though Elazar ben Yaakov relies on Breira, that's only b'di'evet. We don't rely. Yes, now there's a big machlokas in the Rishonim and the Achronim, yesh Breira, in Breira. The Gemara has discussions about this. Tanoim argue about the yesh Breira, in Breira. Seemingly that's the machlokas, the Chacham Elazar ben Yaakov in the Mishnah. That it really is. Chacham say in Breira. We call the yesh Breira. Now, it is all over Shas. It's a big machlokas, a big sugya about Breira, but I'm only going to deal with today's daf, because that's what daf yomi is. You deal with the daf that you're dealing with, not with all the other sugyas in Shas. If you want to deal with a lot of sugyas in Shas at one time, go to Hershel Schachter's shir in YU. He'll tell you about all the different Gemaras where it records Breira. Or Yonatan Sachs's shir. I was in for many years in YU, but he's actually in Landers. He's the dean of Landers College for Men, the rabbinical program. So for sure in his share, maybe Rosh Hashanah. I didn't really go to Rosh Hashanah's share. I know he's very similar to Yonatan Sachs. Yonatan Sachs will tell you every single place in Shas where it talks about Breira. If you're learning Maseches Nedarim, Daf Mem Hey. If you're learning Gittin, Daf Chaf Breira is where it talks about Breira also. He'll tell you, yes, it says in Nedarim, and it says in Gittin, and it says in Psachim, and it says so. But I'm not going to do that because I'm a Daf Yomi Magid share. So I'm going to tell you about today's daf, and from today's daf we can learn that Breira, even though we rely on it, Midor Raisa, because Nedarim is a Din Dal Raisa. Right? Forbidden to get Hana Midor Raisa. These are Dinim of the Torah. Bayachal Dvaro. These are Nedarim. This is all Dal Raisa. This is Masechta, most of it. Nonetheless, we don't rely on Breira L'Chadchila. And I'm going to give you a reason why I believe you don't rely on Breira L'Chadchila. Because the whole nature of Breira, what does Breira mean? Breira means retroactively, right? Breira means after the fact. That's the whole essence of Breira is after you did it, we say retroactively, we say, yeah, I can claim I went into my part of the Chatzar. The whole nature of Breira is hover of dar lima freya, retroactively, right? After I did it. So you can only rely on Breira after you did it. The whole mechanism of Breira working is b'di'evet. Makes sense. The whole mechanism of Breira is b'di'evet. The Chadchila, going into it, right? That's the whole nature of Breira. You don't rely on Breira. That becomes clear from the Gemara. The Chadchila, you don't rely on Breira. If it happened, you can say Breira midaraisa. We can ascertain and assume that the portion that you took was your portion. But the whole nature of Breira works l'mafreya. That's retroactively means. Retroactively means if b'di'evet, if it happened, however, they're l'mafreya. Not that you're allowed to enter yourself in a situation and allow Breira to happen. So that's part, what comes out from this Gemara is basically just a definition of the word Breira, which makes a lot of sense. That's the way Breira works. It's nice how the explanation, the halacha actually fits into the word Breira. Hover or l'mafreya. That's the way I think it's used in Shas. So I'm not really saying any big chiddush over here, but I am saying a big chiddush because it's really a definition of the word Breira, and I'm paskening based on this Gemara. The Gemara does pasken that Breira works midaraisa, but only b'di'evet, not l'chachila. You heard it here first. Hope you enjoyed tonight's share. See you with the next one.